So my schedule in the evenings, usually I put the kids to bed at about between 8 and 9 o'clock. And what that means is we have like a five floor house. And so I take my kids up. I got two kids, and I take them up to take a shower at around that time, between 8 and 9. And then shower is pretty quick. Brush their teeth, floss their teeth, and then I take them to bed, play a bedtime story for them. They get tucked in, and they should be out within the hour. And then by 9:30 to 10, I go upstairs. I take my own shower. I brush my own teeth, and after I change, I I get in bed. I open up my MacBook, link it up. I got my devices on me. I scroll my TikTok feed. I find that is the most inspirational for short form vertical content still. Instagram feed as well. And I scroll X a lot for posts, controversial posts or any of the hot topics today. So yeah, that's kind of what I like to do at night. I scroll for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and I get my ideas. I bookmark my ideas. I think about what I want to do the next day and what I want to react to the next day. So yeah, man. Man, I used to order coffee on Uber all the time. After I started to make my own coffee, after we got an espresso machine, I've been uh I think we got the Nespresso one. You put the capsules inside of the little thing and then you just start making your own coffees. That thing changed my life, man, I'm telling you. Like, I've been drinking that every day. I usually do 2 capsules, and my best drinks are when I use coconut milk, a dash of nutmeg, a dash of salt, a bunch of dark chocolate blocks, have them melt while the espresso is pouring out of the hot machine. And oh yeah, I forgot maple syrup. And yeah, usually that's and cassia cinnamon, or if I have time to grind my own cinnamon, Ceylon cinnamon. Always go for Ceylon cinnamon all the time because Ceylon is arguably like it's 10 times better than cassia in my opinion. And it's less of a weight on your liver. That's what they say. But I think it's the best drink I've made so far to date. I mean, this drink it tastes like a mocha but with coconut milk. It's crazy. So I'm sipping on this right now. It's 10, what is that? Like a little after 10, 10:07 a.m. right now. And this is my 8th day of going live on Twitch. Give myself a round of applause. I'm proud of myself. The 8th day. The strategy is still in progress. I'm juggling multiple brands, and I'm just trying to get through the day every day. I am 42. I will be 43 by the end of this year. And I feel like I've accomplished a lot in the early days of my social media, especially in the mid years. Maybe around 2024, 2025. I feel like I accomplished a lot. I would say from the latter half of 2025 onward until now, it has been a grind. So I've been grinding for, or in this manner of trying to kind of sustain for well over a year now. And so I'm doing my best, but sometimes best is not enough. Sometimes you have to go above and beyond what you're comfortable with, but it's hard to see the forest for the trees or the trees for the forest, whatever that saying is. And every day is like, you know, I got to take care of my kids, and then I gotta take care of my work. And within my work, it's like there's there's like a million fires to put out. Excuse me. So that's kind of what my day to day is as a content creator. Working in the vertical short form space, I would say it's the hardest thing in the world, man. Because I'm on my own. Every month is not guaranteed. What I get is what I get. And it's tough. Every day is a battle for attention and loyalty. And for me, my strength is like, sure, I can get attention if I really want to, right? If I'm compelled to get attention, I can get attention. But can I get loyalty from the audience? Can I get sustainability and stickiness from the people who watch? Somebody who watches a million shorts a day might only see you as one of the million, and they won't remember who you are. And if they do, won't care enough to follow or be loyal or stick around and convert. So me, what am I converting to? I mean, I'm converting to myself, right? You know, converting to me. Like that is the destination. And the goals, the dreams, the purpose, the goalpost, it's constantly changing because my dreams are constantly changing. And the reason why they're constantly changing is because I'm always changing as a person. Like I feel like I the person who started off in this journey is a completely different person who is standing before you today. I think that's a good thing. I also think it's an unfortunate thing of me being born in the wrong era, which I should have been born in the social media era. Or not born into, but I should have been in the prime years of my teenage years when social media was taking off so I can kind of get into this space. Maybe 20, 30 years, 20, 30 years earlier. And my life would definitely be in a different place. Maybe. But we can't go back and change the past. We can't rewind Father Time. So we're going to be talking about a lot of different topics today. I like to do these monologues because it helps me think about what I'm going to do. I'm trying to do more of these recording sessions live. Gonna have a sip of here again. I need to wake up. Yep. All right. So the topic section. Actually, where should we begin? Actually. All right. So topics to kind of keep you up at night, right? The simulation theory. If we are living in a computer in a simulation, then everything in us, around us, on us, through us is not real. And people use the argument that video games look and feel real these days, but that's only to the human eye, which is one sense of all five senses. They think that the they think that like we're living in a simulation in a computer game, basically. And that our universe is designed and it is created by somebody else. That just proves the existence of God, if you believe that. Or whatever form you think God takes, right? I don't know if we're living in a computer game because computer games have not gone beyond the sense of sight. And we have 4 other senses that we know of that we have to account for. So until video games are able to fulfill the 4 or 5 different other senses, we are not living in a simulation, I think. And if we are, then we're all artificial intelligence, and there's no such thing as AI slop, just slop, because we are AI too. Which brings us to another question. If we're not living in a simulation, then were we brought to Earth by aliens? So that's another theory. It's called the ancient alien theory, where this ancient group of people who are not from this Earth took us to Earth to have us be a slave workforce or some type of breeding system. Which is interesting too. Well, where did they come from? Some say they came from another planet, they came from far away, or they say that we're actually living in the prison planet. Maybe the aliens among us are actually the gods who are, or we call them elites, gods, aliens, who are feeding, or our energies are feeding into them. And maybe there is an essence of humanity in which our soul is made of that is delicious to them, and they eat it. And that sustains them, and that's their nutrients. Some people think that, man. And, well, if we die, then what happens to us, right? Do our beings become extra nutrients and food and drink for these entities, aliens, gods, elites? Or do we get stuck on Earth as spirits before going into the afterlife as a ghost? That's also an interesting question to ask. You know, questions to keep you up at night. I forgot. One important ingredient in my drink that I add to my coconut milk latte is a thick slab of butter. So important. And I put them all together in a little shot glass, right? Got a bunch of dark chocolate. I try to do 100%. If I can't, 95, 85, fine. But I try to get 100%. A little nutmeg. I have a little nutmeg grinder that I grind a little nutmeg into the glass. A little salt, butter, dark chocolate, like I said. A decent amount of syrup, maple syrup. Drop my, Nespresso machine. 2 shots. As it melts, I mix it in the machine. I mix it as it melts. And then I put that in the big mug. And then I pour. I use real Thai coconut milk. Really, really good. Really creamy, really full. And that's usually when I don't have time or energy to make my breakfast. I usually do that. I use coconut milk and quite a bit of butter with my latte. So when I do that, it's basically a meal. It's like a liquid meal. It's fast, it's convenient, it's delicious, and it's pretty nutritious as far as I'm concerned. So do we become ghosts when we die? Some people don't have explanations for like poltergeists or things we can't see that are among us. Some people can see them, cold spots, can feel them. But what are they, right? Are they aliens or are they ghosts? Are they spirits? Well, what's the difference between a spirit and a ghost? Aren't they the same thing? If each person has a spirit, then does each person have a ghost living inside of us? And is that ghost us? Or is that ghost in us a completely different entity, a completely different being? That's a good question. Thoughts to keep me up at night. Have we had past lives? Was I something else before? I read this very interesting thought, was that every time you dream, you are actually living in the body of yourself, whatever that means, in another universe. And that when you wake up, then that means that other part of you is unconscious or something like that. Like you get into a car accident or something, or you get stabbed or something in your dream and you wake up. That means that version of you in that multiverse, in that other universe is oh really? Oh my gosh, hold on. Let me see if I am all right, let me see if I'm still echoing. I'm sorry guys. Hello? Is this better? Am I still echoing? Thank you, Benjamin. Thanks for being here. That is good. How much better is it? Like 10 times better or 100 times better? Benjamin just saved my life, man. I don't even know who this guy is. Just drop 100 times better. Yeah, in OBS I had 2 microphones on, and I didn't even realize that. Thank you, Benjamin. So we're talking about thoughts that keep you up at night, right? 3 a.m. thoughts. Do you have any thoughts that keep you up at night? Like, I certainly do, man. Like, I don't even know if this whole thing is real or if the elites, the gods, the aliens harvesting our spirits and souls and essence as nutrients to live are scamming us or playing a joke on us. Sometimes I feel like the universe is playing a trick on me and that I should just disappear and just not be here anymore. But every time I get depressed or sad, I always think about what life would be a year from now. Someone said that to me once, is that if you're not happy with where you are, just kind of wait 365 days and then you will know, like, something will happen within that year. Good luck or bad luck. Like, if you have good luck now, just wait a year and then bad luck will happen within 365 days. Or if you have bad luck now, then good luck will happen within 365 days. And I don't know why that is. Maybe the aliens are playing a joke on us. Some people call aliens demons. We actually don't know what they are. There's been a lot of UFO sightings in 2025 and 2026. And I think it's to distract us from the important issues that are actually happening, that actually make a difference in our lives. Aliens don't seem to. And people say that... I saw this video the other day of a cloud disappearing that was like following someone home, and then it like hovered over that person's house and then it disappeared on camera. But you can't believe everything you see these days because artificial intelligence has made it impossible. And this has gradually happened. So I think there were 3 stages in which text and image to video became indistinguishable from reality. The first stage was Kling, K-L-I-N-G. Kling AI, right? From China. Really realistic footage you can create with artificial. And the next stage... Oh, I think Kling was in 2024 when that happened, right? And then in 2025, Sora 2 came out, which was the second milestone in indistinguishability. Sora 2 Pro was just so good. Not sure when the latter was created, but I know Sora 2 really changed the game for everybody. Correct me if I'm wrong, by the way. I mean, Sora 2, I believe, was 2025. I'm very sure, because that's when I was pumping out content left and right. And it was, I mean, that content was going extremely viral and really helped me build my brand in the AI space. Kling helped me Sora 2 helped me. In 2026, especially 2026, Sea Dance 2 came out. And when that came out, that was the nail in the coffin. Now it's indistinguishable from reality. So it's just going to get better from here, but I'll just tell you this. In 2 years, in less than 2 years, AI started from being, kind of getting good to, they don't call it AI movies anymore. They don't call it AI film anymore. They just call it film. They just call it videos. And I've been dabbling with it. I have a doppelganger that I created named Weddy Tang. Spelled, actually, it's just Teddy Wang with the T and the W swapped. And it's an account called the Yepsiverse, based on Facebook and other platforms. Over 700K on Facebook. I'm pretty proud of that. And the reason why is because that was a goal that I set in 2025. When my videos started going viral in 2024 in the AI space, I set a goal for myself to see whether or not I was able to sustain and grow and blow up with my own face. Not with my own face, I'm sorry, but with no face in 2025, which I did. And so pretty happy about that. But I think this year I've kind of slowed it down a little bit because I'm working on other things. It's still moving, it's still going, but at less of a faster pace, and I'm kind of doing other stuff. So what stuff? So I don't talk about my goals before I actually create them. I tend to keep them private and separate from public. Lest I jinx myself. So the last thing you want to do is kind of tell everyone what you're going to do and then actually not do it because the universe stops you from doing it. Do we have a past life? I believe that maybe part of us had a past life. Maybe because I do believe that I was designed. My DNA is unique. I heard that no fingerprint in humanity has the identical fingerprint. So if I had a past life, and there is no way that my fingerprints were the same in that life as in this life, then can I even call that my past life? Or is it just a past life, another life? So I believe that in another life, I was born, I died in another universe. That's completely plausible. Let me have another drink of my coconut. So Benjamin Lundgren says, I believe we had a past life as spirits. Were those spirits on the same physical earth we're on now? Or was that spirit in another universe? And if it is in another universe, is there a way to unlock the key to access that universe? Or are we completely impossibly closed off from that universe? You think it was on this earth? That's an interesting idea. Kind of like the forest spirits in Japan. You saw that Princess Mononoke movie. They had these cute little forest spirits. So what kind of spirits, and how do you define a spirit? Because earlier we were trying to differentiate what a ghost was and what a spirit was, and what properties separated them. Because if a ghost is just something we can't see, that's neither man or woman. It is an object. It is not even an object. It is not organic or inorganic. It is intangible. It is invisible. But with thermal devices, we can see these things, entities. Then how do we define them? What are they? It could be a ghost. It could be a spirit. But if there's no difference, then why not we call them the same thing? Do we call a ghost its name because it's a spirit that haunts people? And maybe spirits themselves do not haunt people? Or is there no differentiation? It's just a matter of preference of how you want to label them. And so, earlier we talked about whether or not life and everything around us is a simulation and we're living in a computer game. And there's somebody playing an Xbox or PS 1000 controller outside of Earth. Or if there are aliens living among us, or there are in the waters. More people say that there are aliens in the oceans than there are coming from outside of Earth. And others believe that the planets we see are actually demons, that there's actually... And I've seen footage of pilots themselves saying that they believe the Earth is flat. So it's very hard to know who to trust and who to believe now. How can a pilot believe the Earth is flat if they fly airplanes and they believe in the firmament, that there is a limit that we cannot pass? And there's another million questions of why we haven't gone back. We, as in the USA, have not gone back, because I identify myself as American. Why we haven't gone back to the moon? They say we don't have the technology anymore, but if we don't, then how is China going to the moon? How is India going to the moon? How are other countries going to the moon if the USA is not going back? And if it's as easy as they say to steal information in 2026, then we should be able to just steal that information and go to the moon, but we don't. So we don't go to the moon. What is the moon? Is it hollow? Was the moon always there? How long was it there? Who brought it here? Did it happen in the Big Bang, or was it brought over by an alien? Or was it created by aliens here? So there's a million questions, man. And these are not answers. They're just questions. They're just thoughts. 3 a.m. thoughts, right? So the reason why they say more aliens, maybe mermaids are aliens, right, in the water. They say that because it's more plausible, because most of the ocean has not been explored yet. I think like 20 years ago, they were saying that like 95% of the ocean has not been explored. It's been 20 years. How much more of it have we explored? How much percent of the ocean have we explored? Is it still 95%? And then they discovered an ocean that is under the oceans of the earth. That if you put all the oceans on the earth inside of the ocean that is under the earth, the oceans that is on the earth combined cannot even fit in the oceans that is under the earth. And that is just the oceans that we've found so far. Well, if there are oceans under the earth, then is the diagram that we had in middle school not a real diagram? Was it a fake one? Thoughts to keep you up. Was it a fake ocean? Like, was it a fake picture? Yeah, it was definitely fake. No one's gone from one side of the earth to the other side yet. And they say the earth is in the shape of a geoid, or geode, whatever that means, right? It's irregular. It's not completely spherical. So what shape is the earth? Nobody knows. Nobody knows how deep the earth is. They can just estimate. I guess you can guess how deep it is. Who knows? It can go deeper, maybe. How can we measure that with technology if we haven't been able to see from one side of the earth to the other? Thoughts to keep you up. They definitely keep me up. Underground subterranean civilizations. They're discovering, I think they found, correct me if I'm wrong, in Turkey, they found like a underground city. And I saw a picture of it and it looks insane. I'm gonna have a drink. And put it in the chat. Any thoughts you have at night? Any thoughts you have at night that you might that might keep you up? Put it in the chat and we'll see if we can talk about it. I have a lot more topics here. All right. So, the next topic is the idea of a soulmate. So, do you have a soulmate? A mate that you were destined to share souls with? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think in hindsight, you have a soulmate. They say hindsight is 2020. When you look back in your life, yeah, you can say I had a soulmate because you were together for your entire life. But either one of you could have just made the decision to separate, and then, or you can mutually separate, and then you could find someone new, and that's not a soulmate anymore. So it's like, well, either you're a soulmate or not. It's not like you choose to be a soulmate now and then you break up, because a soulmate means you're together forever, right? But then again, even if you do stay with this person your entire life until you die, but when you die, you don't know what happens. Nobody knows what happens. Some people, they say before they die, they see a light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe that's God. And then you die. And then you don't see your soulmate anymore. Well, you're supposed to be together forever, right? So if you're together during your life and then after you die, then yeah, maybe there is such thing as a soulmate. But if you are together on Earth and then you die, and then you don't see that person anymore, then even then that person is not your soulmate. So it doesn't make sense if you say, yeah, this is my soulmate, and then you die and then you don't see them anymore, because it means forever. And death is not forever. And so that's kind of what I think. I think people say, this is my soulmate when they're in love. Or people say, this is my soulmate when they feel content in their relationship. It's just a convenient vocabulary, a way of saying things when things are good, which means nothing. Because meaning happens when things are bad. How do you overcome bad times? How do you stick together? Like, that's what's important. Not like, oh, is this person my soulmate? Yes, maybe, no, maybe. It doesn't matter. It's a stupid question. It's irrelevant. Because you only know when you look back. And the choices you make today are what really matter, and whether or not you are still with this person. Because you could choose to not be at any time. So is there a multiverse? I think there is a multiverse. I believe that the dream theory is plausible. You die, maybe you're in your dream and then you die in that dream. And then the person who is dying is actually dead. The you that is in another multiverse is dead, right? That's completely plausible. Why not? Okay. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Let me just kind of fix my face here. So, it is completely plausible to be alive in a dream. Let me just come back to you here. There we go. So it is completely, it does make sense to me. Because if the multiverse theory is correct, that means there's infinite universes, right? Which they call the multiverse. And if that's true, then that means that there are an infinite amount of copies of everything that happens. Maybe it's rearranged. And if we believe that, hey, every fingerprint is unique, then what keeps me up at night is not whether or not it's the same you, but just a different variation of you in that universe. Or does that you share the same fingerprint as you? If you believe that all humans, who've ever existed have never shared a same fingerprint as you before, or there's no human that has ever had the same fingerprint as another human, then do you believe that? I mean, do you believe that that person is the same as you? Like, your fingerprint, is that the 100% defining factor in your uniqueness? That fingerprint. Does that make you uniquely you? And if it doesn't, then maybe maybe you are not unique. Maybe there is a variety of you, variety of copies of you that share the same fingerprint. And if you share the same fingerprints, that means that you share the same DNA, which means there are exact copies of you everywhere, just not in the same place. Well, can you access those places? And some people say yes, you can access them through dreams. Dreams. And I've dreamed of myself many times. And they say you cannot see a reflection of yourself in a dream. That like it is impossible to it's impossible to see your own reflection in your dreams. It's crazy. I mean, who would have thought of that? Which genius thought of that? But you can die in your dream. You can fall from a cliff and you could die. And then maybe that person that shared the same fingerprint as you in another universe died at the same time. And you woke up because that version of you died. Now you woke up back in your own body. What if you have 3 dreams in the same night? That means that you dreamt of 3 copies of yourself in different places of the universe at the same time. I mean, not at the same time, but like in the same night. Which is crazy to think about. And do those 3 copies of you share the same fingerprints as you? Or do they share different fingerprints as you? Like, it's crazy. Thoughts to keep you up. So we just had a comment come in from Benjamin Lundgren. Thanks for being here. The ocean is kind of scary because it is the closest thing on Earth to outer space. It's dark and cold in the ocean and in outer space. You can't breathe in the ocean and in outer space. And there is fear of unknown creatures in the ocean and in outer space. This isn't really something that keeps me up at night, but I have had scary dreams about the ocean. Hey, Benjamin, I'll be honest. 2 nights ago, I had this crazy nightmare, right? Where I was, me and my kids and my wife, my family, we were sending our kid to school. And then there was a flood. I'm in Taiwan, by the way, but I'm an American citizen and I identify as American. Always. I always identify where my software is from, never where my hardware is from. My skin, my DNA. I don't believe that defines me. I think ideology and my ideas, my thoughts define me more. But that's besides the point. Let me tell you, there was a flood in Taiwan. And like me and my family, we were stuck. And we were taking these boats. And these waves were miles high. And a lot of people died. I saw them die in my dream. And I think I drowned eventually. I drowned, I was left behind. There was some memorial for those who died. And when they shot the boat out, I was on that boat. I was still on that boat. And I was sending like some last message to my wife or kids or something. Right? It was crazy, and then I died. So maybe that version of me is real and actually happened. Maybe there actually is a flood in Taiwan or whatever it's called in another part of the universe. I personally have not seen a monster in the ocean, but the closest thing I've seen to a monster was a ghost. But I don't know if I saw the ghost. I don't know what it was. I could have been hallucinating. So I was in Taiwan. I was in bed, right? And I. So I remember this dream clear as day. My grandma was in this dream, and I don't know if it was actually my grandma or if it was a demon or spirit, an evil spirit, because I was watching CCTV. I think I was in Family Mart. It's like one of those convenience stores in Asia. And I was looking at the CCTV and I saw my grandma in there, I think. She was looking back at me. And I woke up and I saw on my right hand side, I saw a shadow, like a silhouette of a person. And I felt what they say in Chinese, they call it like 鬼压床, which is like monster presses the bed, which is the literal translation. It's not an accurate representation of what it means. 鬼压床, right? It means monster press bed. But it really means your body is held down by an unseen entity. And you're just there being pressed down by something. And I felt something. And then the reason why, because in my dream, I saw the clock on the wall, right? And they say that like the clock is not supposed to match the time when you're awake, but it matched the time, which freaked me out. That is the one thing, the one moment when I realized that maybe this is not a dream, maybe this actually happened. Okay, maybe the dream happened in another universe, but the moment I saw the clock on my wall represent the same time as the clock on the wall in my dream, that freaked me the F out, more than the ghost. And then when I felt something pressing or sitting on my chest, and I could barely breathe, I could barely move, I couldn't get up. I tried to move, but like my whole body just kind of forced myself down. The shadow, the entity, the whatever this thing was, it left the corner of my bed with my eyes. I swear, I saw this thing. It left the corner of my bed. From the corner, it escaped through the floor. It like went like that way diagonally, and then into the corner of the wall, and then went up and disappeared into the ceiling. I swear this happened. Why? I still remember it. That's the moment I realized maybe there is a ghost, maybe they exist. And yeah, cheers to that. Put it in the chat, guys, if you have another thought or a question, and you wanna. Oh, I have some more stories, man. I could definitely say some more stories. If you have another thought or an idea or a question, or maybe even a starting point where we can just kind of riff from, put it in the chat, man. Okay, do you believe in God? I believe in God, and I'll tell you why. And God is not something you can just blindly believe, because I was born and raised in a family that went to church. I'm from a Christian family, okay? But that's my nuclear family. But my nuclear family is a part of a bigger family that is not Christian, okay? Relatives, other families extended from my nuclear family. Most of them are Buddhist, Most of them do ancestral worship. So I had to go to a lot of these temples when I was growing up and see them use the incense that they use. I even used it before, right? Eventually, I stopped using them and I just bowed. But their incense, aromatic, I still remember the smell. We used to have incense burning on the 5th floor of my house, and I used to smell it every morning when I woke up, every time I came back to Taiwan in the summertime. Very religious family, okay? I believe in God. Here's why. In 2006, I went to Beijing, China. I went to Beijing for an internship doing graphic design and animation, 3D stuff, right? Learning how to be a functional human. And I overstayed my visa by 6 months, longer than 6 months, perhaps. My health was suffering. I already had liver problems. And my liver was almost destroyed while I was in jail. Okay? I was supposed to be there for several months. And from the first day I was in jail, I prayed to God every day. And I talked to God all the time. God help me. God get me out. God, where are you? Because I grew up as a Christian. It doesn't mean that God was still with me. And I believe you can actually leave God and not feel the hand of God. Well, what does that mean? It means you cannot feel the presence of the Lord. And I left God for a long time. I was born and raised quite well behaved, I guess. Naughty, super naughty, but not that kind of naughty. Not a dark kind of naughty. But after high school, during college, I gradually disappeared from hanging out with God, talking to God. Until when I graduated, I basically wasn't a Christian anymore. Yeah, I could say I was just paying lip service, but I actually wasn't. Or I doubted him. Or I was being rebellious. Everything I did was an act of rebellion against God. And I was doing that so much. Going out in Beijing as an intern, after college, drinking, partying, hanging out with all kinds of people, doing some crazy stuff. To the point where I stopped feeling God. And it's a sixth sense. It's a sense you could only feel if you actually were a Christian before. And you could definitely feel the sixth sense disappear. You could definitely feel that. So it was gone, and I was in jail, and my health was suffering. I was halfway. I almost died, basically. I prayed to God to get me out. I was supposed to be in jail for several months, and by God's grace, He got me out in like 2 weeks. Okay. I have a lot of people to thank for that. But I believe that God had a hand in that. And I believe that it was because of God that I got out. That's why I believe in God. You can say it was a coincidence, sure. Sure, you can say it's a coincidence. But I believe in God. Do you believe in God? That's why. That's why I believe in God. And I'm going to stand by that. And I believe that everybody has the right to believe the religion they want. I don't believe that God and government should mix. I believe that a government should be built on Christian principles. I believe that Christian principles are the foundation of America's Constitution. Now, I don't believe that the American government is a Christian government. I believe it's long past that stage. I believe that there are parts of the Bible that anybody can point to and say, hey, look, Christianity is stupid. It's wrong, it's false. And then you can choose other parts and say, oh, it's the best religion in the world. So I don't like the word Christian. I don't like calling myself a Christian. Because that means I believe everything in the Bible. I'll be honest, I don't believe everything in the Bible. I don't know if that makes me a non-Christian. But oh, there's another story. Oh my gosh, I have another story. Yo, Benjamin, are you still here? There's another crazy story. So, another reason I believe in God. Maybe it's witchcraft. Oh, F yeah. Jesus Christ. Let me tell you a story about Jesus Christ. Woo! Man, this is a crazy story. So I was in, I have some crazy Christian stories in Taiwan. Because I was a part of a church that was quite interesting. I loved it. But do you believe in the power of healing? In the power of the name of Jesus to heal people? Dude, I was following this dude around, right? I was following this guy around Taiwan in my own city. And the reason why is because he had like this, he was able to heal people. And I didn't believe it at first. I was like, come on. You're pulling my leg, right? This is some infomercial mega church, late night television. Faked, staged. But unless you were in those rooms, you have no idea. You have no idea. This is like before 2010. Between 2006 and 20. Okay, so I was in this room with this dude, right? And he put his hands on someone's face, right? And we were praying for like 20, 30 minutes to remove the acne on that person's face. On this, I think it was a dude. Dude, 20% of the acne was gone, like within the hour. And that's one of the cases that night. I'm not gonna say which church. I don't like to call people out or put a spotlight on anyone. But 20% of the acne was gone. I couldn't believe my eyes, right? I think we all kind of freaked out. I was freaking out. And there was a condition people had called 长短脚, which means like long, short leg in Chinese, right? And so this happened to me, where I was sitting on a chair with my bottom back against the base of the chair, right? And and how you tested whether or not you had long, short leg, which means like one leg was longer than the other, is you had to sit all the way back in the chair. And then you had to look at both feet and compare to see whether or not one foot was in front of the other or not, right? So, holy crap, like my friend was praying for me to equalize my leg lengths. And as he was praying, he was putting his hands on me, right? And that's why they say like, "Hey, can I put my hands on? Like, can I put my hands on you?" People say that a lot because it's the power of Jesus, not to be a mega church pastor or anything. And as he was praying for me, dude, I saw my feet, like the length of my legs, were changing in front of me. I couldn't explain it. I felt a little something in my spine in the base, but holy crap. It was like aligning, like the feet were lining up. Okay. Visually, that is why I believe in Jesus. Now, if I say in an intangible way, like in my heart, in my mind, why I believe in Jesus is because I still believe the day I accepted Christ. I don't know why. And it's not a good excuse. It's not a good reason to say, yeah, I believe in Jesus because I accepted him when I was 13. Maybe I was 14 or something. But I was in bed. I was on the top bunk of my bunk bed. And I was praying and talking to God. And I accepted him as my Lord and Savior on that day. But why do I remember that? Why does that moment stand out? And ever since then, I felt like there was another. On that day, I grew a sixth sense where my body had another. It wasn't the sense of sight, sound, touch, taste, or hearing. It was like another sense. I can't explain it. Ever since that day, I had that sense. All right, y'all. We're gonna do a hard stop here. It's been an hour. Yo, Benjamin, I'll be here at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tell your friends to come and hang out. If you know, have any e-friends, and we could talk about all kinds of things. But Google me on Google. Take my Twitch username, go on Google, and find out who I am, just to kind of know like what I do all day. And this is what I do at night. Even though it's morning where I am, it's night in the US. I'm an American. I'm a Texan citizen. Hopefully, I can see you, Benjamin. I can see other people here, and we can just kind of like, hey, late night thoughts, 3 a.m. ideas. What have you got? Let's talk and let's hang out. All right. So have a good night, and I'll see you in the next live. Okay. See you tomorrow at 10 p.m. EST. All right, Benjamin. See you later, man. That was a lot of fun. I agree. All right, guys. Bye.